Hey guys, so today I want to give you guys some tips that you guys can implement and use to help you guys when it comes to taking tests and hopefully also overcoming any kind of testing anxiety that you guys may have. So for me personally, I'm going to be a first year dental student in August, and I know that I struggled with test anxiety for sure during my undergrad and back in high school. And I know, this is one tip that I had heard a lot, but I wish I really would have taken to heart. And this first tip is just to use every exam as an opportunity to show what you know. So really just kind of looking at exams is just chances to prove to yourself or prove to professors, and not even necessarily prove, but just show yourself or show professors what you know. So in terms of just keeping a positive mindset, so that way you're going into exams not stressing about what you don't know, but more so thinking about what you do know. And I would say when you're actually taking the exam, I think it's really important to go through it at a really good pace. So you don't want to go too slow or too fast, but you want to find a good pace, and you want to skip the questions that you don't necessarily know and kind of come back to them once you're finished with the test. Because I know for me, one mistake that I would make a lot is if I didn't know a question, I'd just be stuck on it for 5 or 10 minutes. And so not only does that start to raise your anxiety because you're starting to panic because you don't know the question, but it's also kind of killing time that you could use to solve the questions that you actually know. And so another tip that I would give you guys as well would be to not get so focused on the long-term outcome, whether it's while you're taking the test or while you're preparing for the test. Because even if it's something that you think might be really important, like the ACT exam or your MCAT exam, thinking about the long-term outcome, I believe, is only going to increase your anxiety levels. Because I know for me personally, that was a big trigger for my anxiety. Whenever I would start to think about the long-term implications of my grade, or if I got stuck on a question, I'd start to calculate how many points I might have missed. I believe it's just more important to kind of go through the exam and just try to focus on being present and just trying to do the best that you can. Because at the end of the day, what I've started to realize is school is a lot like dating, in the sense that if you ever want to talk to a guy or a girl and you start to think about all the things that could go wrong before you've even approached them, you're already setting yourself up for failure. So I believe it's more important to, whether it's dating or an exam, to just go into it with an open mind. And I would also just say that regardless of how the score turns out, if you end up doing better than you thought or worse than you thought, the important thing is to understand that your test score does not define you. So whether you ended up doing worse than you thought and you're disappointed, it's understandable to be disappointed, but you want to direct that in a positive direction in terms of thinking about different ways to maybe study for the next exam. So essentially for me, that was definitely one thing that I didn't do well, because if I did worse on an exam than I thought, I'd immediately start to feel sorry for myself and kind of start to sulk and things like that. And so I would start to lose motivation. But now going back, if I could do things over again, I definitely would have started to try to direct that in a more constructive direction in terms of planning for the next exam. And so those essentially are the main tips. Just understanding that at the end of the day, it's just an exam. Just trying to prepare for it the best that you can. And one of my favorite quotes, and I always apply this back to exams, is don't take wins to your head and don't take losses to your heart. And so even if you end up doing well, you also don't want to start to get too arrogant and start to think that you know the material too well to the point where you still don't have to study and put the time in. So that's essentially my video, you guys. I hope that you got some really useful tips from this, and I hope that it continues to help you guys moving forward. Please feel free to leave a comment and tell me what you guys' favorite tip was. And yeah, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.